What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about how Klay Thompson got screwed over by not making the All-NBA team. So let's see what they have to say about that.
It doesn't make sense to have a team, Stephen A., with Westbrook and Kemba in the backcourt if Klay Thompson's available. You would not have Westbrook and Kemba. You would choose Klay either over Westbrook and Kemba if you're constructing a team. He is a great defensive player. He is one of the greatest shooters who ever lived. And for that level of 3-and-D guy, he can also really ball. I agree with Klay Thompson.
I agree with Max. Klay Thompson definitely should have at least made third team. So let's keep going.
Well, I agree with him too. And I think that the important point that needs to be made is that it's a disgrace. When you talk about what Klay Thompson brings to the table, and it's not about what guards are better than him or not better than him. It's about you taking the regular season into consideration. I would have put Klay Thompson. I'm not saying anybody deserves to be off of it because all the players can ball. But what I'm saying is I would have put him ahead of Kyrie Irving. I would have put him ahead of Russell Westbrook and Kemba Walker. Let me be.
So I definitely put Klay above Kemba Walker. As far as Westbrook or Kyrie, I'm not too sure. I really have to sit down and think about that because I think Klay Thompson is a great system player. I think Klay Thompson is as good a system player as Russell Westbrook or Kyrie is for their team, if that makes any sense. Because what Klay does, he keeps other teams honest about how they defend Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. So if you go to double team either of those two, they're just going to defer to Klay, and Klay is going to make that shot. And Klay can defend too. So, like I said, I think Klay Thompson is the ultimate system player, and he's as good as Westbrook or Kyrie as they are overall, as Klay is as a system player, if that makes any sense. So let's keep going.
Very, very clear about that. I'm looking at Kemba Walker right now, who I love and all of that stuff because I love what he brings to the table. Kemba Walker hasn't been in the playoffs the last 3 years or whatever the case may be, even though, again, it's regular season and he's carried the Hornets on his back. We know that when he gets going, he's absolutely unstoppable as a scoring machine. He averaged 25 a game, but nevertheless, that's when he gets going. And obviously, his miniature stature, he's a defensive liability. Last time I checked, defense matters, and Klay Thompson is one of the better defenders in the game. I think people were holding the first 7 games of the season against Klay Thompson when he was shooting 39% from the field, just 14% from three-point range, averaging just 15 points per game. He was awful the first 7 games of the season. The last 71 games that he played this year, he averaged better than 22 points on 47% shooting from the field, 42% from three-point range. He's one of the greatest shooters this game has ever seen. He can defend 4 different positions. And not only that, he does what he does while recognizing he's a third wheel on a team. And for us to sit here, a panel of 100 writers and broadcasters, it wasn't me, to cost this man potentially $30 million by screwing him over like this is sickening to me. And when I look at the things that we've said, Kyrie can ball. We know what all-world talent Kyrie Irving is. But you do now find yourself where his leadership was brought into question. I know of people who had conversations with Kyrie Irving because they say you better than that. You're a better leader than that. You're a better person than that. You're a better baller than that. Your body language on the court, your lack of inspiration to your teammates, etc., etc. They've called him out. Not me, but they've called him out about it personally because they got that kind of love for him. Clearly, Kyrie wasn't himself. Russell Westbrook, down in points, down in field goal percentage shooting, down in three-point percentage shooting. And listen, he shot 29.8% from 3 last year, Max, and still it was worse this year from three-point range for Russell Westbrook. Hold on. And
so let me jump in here real quick. So I wouldn't put Klay Thompson on any of the All-NBA team because he's about to get $30 million bonus just for making that. That's not why you're on there. You're on there. You make those teams because you have talent, not because you're so close to getting that contract. So as far as that, I don't agree with bumping him up just because he's going to get an extra $30 million. You make those all teams because you're talented. Now, as far as Westbrook and Kyrie, it's kind of, as far as Klay's kind of a tweener. He's kind of a tweener. So he's like a superstar, but then he's a kind of a third wheel backup type player. It's kind of weird because, like I said, he's as good a system player as Kyrie or Russell Westbrook are for their team. So I can't picture Klay as being the number one front runner of a team like Russell Westbrook or Kyrie, but he fits great into the system. And I can't see necessarily Westbrook or Kyrie being the type of system player that Klay Thompson is, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. Like I said, Klay Thompson, he's kind of a tweener. He's kind of a superstarish, but not superstarish role player. He just fits so well into the Golden State system, but he's kind of overlooked because you got Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, above you. So he's kind of a tweener. He kind of bounces around. But he definitely deserves to make a team. And if I had to bump anybody, it'd have to be Kemba Walker. It'd have to be him. And as far as putting Klay up there just because he's going to get an extra $30 million bonus, that's not why you get up there. You get up there because you have talent, not because you're close to making money. So I hope that made sense, but let's keep going.
He's down, free throw shooting all the way down to 65% from the free throw line. Paul George was doing major damage for the Oklahoma City Thunder, so I think that's a question mark. So we talk about Kyrie, we talk about Russell, we talking about Kemba Walker, all with question marks, and the person that gets sacrificed is a reigning two-time champion, 3 championships in the last 4 years, on the verge of three-peating, widely recognized as one of the top 5 shooters this game has ever seen, and we're going to trip over him rolling his eyes. We should be proud of Klay Thompson for not throwing up in front of all the reporters for sitting there and getting screwed over the way that he did.
So I understand why, I can see why they would pick Kyrie or Russell Westbrook over Klay Thompson. I don't necessarily see why Kemba, but I can see why they would do it because those guys are front runners for their teams. And Klay Thompson is a third wheel, but he's a third wheel to arguably some of the best players in the league with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. So, like I said, he's kind of a tweener. He's like in between a starter that can run a team and a backup role player. So, but I can't necessarily see Klay Thompson as being a front runner like Russell Westbrook or Kyrie is for their team. He's more of a role player, kind of like Draymond Green. If Draymond Green goes someplace else, I don't think he's going to be the front runner of that team. That's just not him. He's a role player that fits excellent into the Golden State Warriors system. So I can kind of see, as far as Klay Thompson, I can see how they can put somebody else above him. Not necessarily Kemba, but I can see because Klay Thompson's not really a front runner. He's a tweener, so it's kind of hard. But I don't know. Hope that makes sense. So let's keep going.
The bottom line is, think of the players you just compared to Klay. From Kemba Walker to Paul George. Like, what is Klay? He's getting, when you say screwed over, he's getting screwed over by the system that they do this, right? Like, he's a two-way wing 3-and-D guy.
I'm not even thinking about all of that.
He's not a combo guard, but that's what happened. They took point guards instead of, and considered him as competing with the point guards instead of, his real competition is Kawhi Leonard, who's better than him, Paul George, who's better than him, and KD, who's better than him. Who else does that job better than Klay Thompson? Right? And nobody. So is it just Jimmy Butler? Like, these are really who he's competing against. But somehow in this system, he's competing against Kemba Walker. And think of it this way. You're trying to win a championship, right? You want Kemba Walker or Klay Thompson? You want Russell Westbrook or Klay Thompson? Klay Thompson is a guy with whom you can win a championship. We've seen it. He doesn't need the ball, but he does damage with it. He can defend the other team's best wing player. He's 6'7" and one of the greatest shooters ever, and he's a great team player. He should be on the at least.
He should make it, but like you said before, he's a wobbler. He's a wobbler, so he could be the number one player. He's good enough to be a number one player, but at the same time, he's like a role player for the Golden State Warriors. But I can't necessarily see him playing the role of Russell Westbrook or Kyrie. If you put Klay Thompson on another team, I can't see him being the number one player and leading the team to a championship. He can do it, but I just don't see him being the number one player. Like I said, he's a system player, and he fits so well with the Golden State Warriors. I can see how he can kind of be overlooked because he's a wobbler between being a superstar and a role player, and it's just, I can understand it, but I would put him over Kemba Walker. Klay Thompson, he's really hard to judge and to where to put him. And as far as him being mad or rolling his eyes over not getting picked, I haven't heard anybody being mad or tripping on Klay Thompson for being mad about not making it on the All NBA team, because everybody knows what type of player Klay Thompson is. Everybody knows what he is and what he brings to the table. So he has a right to be mad. But I can understand how they could do that. Maybe not with Kemba Walker, but I could see how they can pick a Westbrook or Kyrie over Klay Thompson, because they're front runners. Klay Thompson is a third wheel, but he's a third wheel to two of the best players in the NBA, and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. So it's like he's in a weird spot. He's in a weird spot. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
The all-third team.
But Max, here's the thing, and I get all of that, and obviously I just made that point, but I got to tell you something. There's something else that I'm going to throw out here. Yes, we can make arguments for everybody because, again, they all can ball. But you have to understand, these broadcasters and sports writers, you know the rules. And you know by leaving him off, you're going to cost him potentially $30 million. Now, does Klay Thompson deserve that? I understand that, you know what, Kemba Walker is in line for the Supermax, even though I don't think he's going to get it and what have you. But when you have something that close, that debatable, what about what this dude does on both ends of the floor? Yeah. What about what he sacrifices? What about how we've given Chris Bosh and Kevin Love in the past major kudos for what they sacrificed for the betterment of the team. Klay Thompson does that, and you go and cost him $30 million.
Well, I don't, like I said before, Stephen, I don't think you put Klay Thompson in there because he's about to get a $30 million bonus because he made the All-NBA team. That's not why those guys are there. Those guys are there for strictly talent. If you're the top dogs, then you should be able to be in there. You shouldn't be able to be pushed over the edge to make a third team because you're so close to making $30 million. This isn't the area to be doing that. These guys to make the All-NBA teams is off of pure talent, not because you're about to make $30 million bonus. So I don't agree with Stephen A. Smith as far as that. I mean, it would be nice, but that's not why at this point, at this level of being an all-star, that's not why you make the team. You make it there because you are a straight baller. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Klay Thompson definitely deserves to be a third teamer or on the All-NBA team over probably Kemba. But if he didn't deserve to be there, but you want to push him over because he's so close to getting $30 million, I can't agree with that. But let's keep going.
It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
Klay Thompson,
it really is.
2 or a 3. There are 3 teams, so 6 slots for him. Tell me 6 guys who can play the
and you
2
look,
or 3
and you look at the 6
Klay.
slots. You look at the 6 slots. Here's how I look at it. There's 5 guys on each All-NBA team, 1, 2, and 3. Don't tell me 15 different dudes in the league. I understand that, but I'm just telling you how I look at it. In other words, don't tell me that 15 different dudes deserve to be recognized more than him when he's a 3-time champion. That's jacked up. It really is.
I'm sure he's upset about the money lost, as you point out, Stephen A. He did say, I'm going to the finals for the 5th.
And whoever Klay Thompson plays in the finals, whether it's Toronto Raptors or Milwaukee Bucks, those boys better be ready. You better be ready because Klay is going to be very pissed when they meet up. He's going to be going out of his way to show everybody why he should have at least been on the third team All-NBA team. So expect Klay Thompson to be dropping bombs left and right. Watch him be going out of his way to be doing windmill dunks and all types of stuff to show the world why he should have been on one of those All-NBA teams, especially when he's working on a 3-peat. So I don't know, they better be careful. They better be careful and account for Klay Thompson at all times because he's going to be coming with heat. So let's keep going.
Great year. Those count for something. Mm-hmm. Those matter for something. All right.
Oh, by the way, Will, as great as Steph is, what would Steph be